Hello everybody, thanks for joining me. Today I'm back out at the grasslands. As you can see, I have a little helper behind me. So ever since I was out the grasslands a couple weeks ago, the beautiful wildflowers, I wanted to come back out, take advantage of those flowers, and try to get some more photos with the birds amongst those flowers. I also wanted to take advantage of the OM system gear because it's so lightweight. I can carry her on my back and be able to carry this gear and still hopefully get some great photos and maybe some short video clips. Have about an hour and a half to try to find and photograph some things, and we're gonna see what we can do. There's no real expectations, just hopefully gonna enjoy a nice little hike, walk through the grasslands, and hopefully make some nice photos. There's still a lot of birds. The wildflowers aren't as much right now. They kind of lost their peak, but there's still hundreds of swallows. There's still all sorts of warblers, goldfinch, all sorts of different things. So we're gonna see what we can find in a short amount of time. Now today I'm only out with the OM-1 Mark II and then the 150 to 400 millimeter lens. Obviously I wanna pack light. I'm not gonna be able to switch much gear around, and I don't have a tripod or anything. So everything's gonna be handheld, and we're just gonna see what we can find with just this lens. And I'm excited to try it out. The weather was really nice today. It was a cloudy, bright day, which means you don't have to worry about the sun coming out and being really bright and harsh. You have some nice, really even lighting that you can use and just have a full day of photography out in this big open area. So definitely check the weather before you head out to an area like this. As I was walking along the paths, I could hear a bunch of swallows and common yellowthroats along and among the grass and flowers. And I managed to lower myself and position myself so that I could be level with the top of the vegetation. This way I could get some nice images with the song sparrow perched on top of some of the stalks, and include some of the elements of the grassland in the foreground to create a nice effect and help frame the bird in the image. Getting lower also allowed me to include more of the wildflowers and the colors in the foreground and the background of the images. And especially when the swallow came much closer to me, I was able to get some nice color in those images. And I engaged the 1.25 teleconverter in the lens, and I was able to get this series of images, which I was really happy with. The last time I was out here, I was able to get some really nice images of common yellowthroats in and among the purples and the whites of the wildflowers. So my goal was to try to get some more images like that. And I was able to have some success, and I heard a pair of common yellowthroats a little bit farther down the path. They were kind of flying low along the tops of the field and then kind of would bury themselves down into the vegetation. The female went kind of deep into the vegetation, but the male was still a little bit exposed. And I was able to approach and position myself so that I could find the male perched on top of this really beautiful dead stalk in the grass. I was able to position myself so that the male was kind of just in the clear through some vegetation. And I was using the C1 target area autofocus mode in the camera, and I had it at the smallest box. So that way the autofocus wasn't getting distracted by all the vegetation around, and I was able to just put that box right over the head of the bird, and then the eye tracking took care of the rest, and was able to get these nice images, which I was really happy with. really nice. There's a young swallow that's perched on a tree and it's still being fed by the parents. So I kind of have a nice little spot that I can sit and hopefully have the parents come and maybe get some action shots of the parent hovering over the young. The swallows give a pretty good indication when their adult is coming close. They start doing the fluttering of the wings. They start like tilting their head up. So it gives you a couple seconds before the adults actually show up to kind of get you ready. As I was sitting waiting for the adult swallow to return, I had a beautiful surprise encounter with a female orchard oriole that perched in this dead tree. I really like how the colors turned out in this image. The dark foliage in the background and the dark burned out tree really helped to make the yellows of the orchard oriole really pop out. I'm really happy with how it came out. It's just one of those really good benefits of just finding a spot to sit and just be still and quiet, and amazing things will pop up right in front of you. And it turns out I had some other opportunities with orchard orioles a little bit farther down the trail. I spotted this female or juvenile, I'm not sure which one it is, down among some flowers, and I managed to get some more photos of it, again using the C1 target area at the smallest size, so I could really pinpoint the autofocus area on top of the bird and not have the autofocus get distracted with all the vegetation. And then I spotted a male perched on a thorny stalk, and I moved myself so that the bird was framed between two of these green stalks that were in the foreground. And this ability to move and reposition myself to compose some more interesting images is one of the biggest things that I'm really liking with this OM system gear. The mobility and the stabilization combined with the ability to handhold the shots at high magnification and low shutter speeds, making shots like this really pretty easy, and it would have been a little bit more cumbersome to do with some full frame gear, especially at this magnification. Well, that's going to be it for me. It was a short hour and a half, but I had some really nice success with a lot of different things. I'm really happy about that. And it's really nice to just be out and not have your gear weigh you down. I know I did this last time, and I had the 400 2.8 from Nikon, and I managed, but it wasn't very enjoyable because it was just so heavy to have to move around and hold. And this is just so much lighter, more portable, easier to use, and it was not a burden, which was really nice. Had some really nice shots. I'm really happy with the last little encounter I just had with a whole family group of orchard orioles. There was, I think, about 5 or 6 of them up in a tree at one point, but I had a nice encounter with the male, and then some of the young and the female kind of perched down in the grass. So that was really nice. Got some photos of that. And now I'm on my way out. We'll see if we find anything on the way out, but overall, just a really nice morning. I'm glad I was able to come out, make use of it, and thank you for coming along with me. Hope you enjoyed. I know this was a short one, but I'm trying to take every opportunity I can to come out and test out this gear. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time. As I was hiking out, I came across a beautiful grasshopper sparrow, and he was beautifully perched on what looked like a burnt out pine tree. I was able to have some nice yellow of the flowers in the background, which helped to bring out the yellow accents in the bird's feathers. And I really like this photo because it really kind of speaks to the habitat and, ecological processes that are important to the species. This species requires large grassland habitat, and historically that was achieved through wildfires. Now, even though this burned out pine was from a controlled burn, it offers a glimpse into kind of the past for this species and how this species probably existed 50 to 100 years ago in these landscapes. If you enjoyed this one, I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. Both of those are really quick and easy ways for you to show your support and really help me grow this channel. I'm also excited to be working on putting together a new series which is focused on different habitats and certain habitats that really allow for some nice success for wildlife photography. And my goal is to go through these habitats, explain to you what makes them so good for wildlife photography, so that if you have a short amount of time to head out, these kinds of locations may be the best bet for you to, number one, find species to photograph and have success getting the photos that you want. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up, and I'm really excited to be starting to put that together. But until then, I'll see you next time.